Hello, welcome to the first episode of Well Behaved, where we unpack sobriety, womanhood, current events, pop culture, and the messiness of life. I'm Bree.
And I'm Carter, and welcome to the pod.
We are so excited. This has been in the works for a little while. I think there was some hesitancy because I think not everyone needs a mic, but then we ultimately decided that we do.
I was just about to say, not everyone needs a mic. However, after thinking long and hard about it, ultimately we did decide that we do need mics.
Here we are. $89 later, we have our mics. I put it on my husband's credit card. We're going to talk a little bit about why we decided to do this. You might be wondering why we think we're qualified to do this, and I'm going to tell you why. We love all the girly podcasts. We listen to all of them. We are in on all of them. We are big fans. Sometimes, though, we do notice that they're speaking on things that they are unqualified to speak on, and we've decided that we are qualified. Carter, would you like to tell them why we're qualified?
Well, I do feel like you might be a little more qualified than me because you have your mental health counselor
Right,
angle.
but you have your other angle, your lawyer angle.
Lawyer angle, we are educated and we come prepared and we can talk about these topics.
We are level-headed individuals who are also incredibly opinionated. I also think it's interesting that we both come from very different backgrounds. I'm from the North, you're from the South. I'm married, you are newly dating. We have one major thing in common, which is that we're both sober, which is what we're going to talk about today.
So much to talk about. I guess first we can say like how we met, which is just through TikTok and like starting to post about our sobriety. I really started posting on TikTok like right when I stopped drinking. Is that when you started posting?
So I told myself that if I made it to 6 months sober, I could make an Instagram about it or a TikTok about it, and that's what I did. So once I hit 6 months, I launched my TikTok, but I had been working on it for 6 months with the hope that I would make it that far. So, it was always in the back of my brain as something I wanted to
Right.
do. I was a theater kid. This is like what I'm meant for. It feels good to have the mic in front of me. It's been a long time without it. I
You
was
were
a
a
huge,
theater
yeah, I was a
kid.
theater kid.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like I had been wanting to post online on TikTok forever. And then I feel like when I stopped drinking, I kind of had this like, I can do anything feeling. You know what I mean? And so I was finally like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing it.
So why don't you dive into a little bit about your sobriety origin story, your villain origin story, what made you get sober, what was drunk Carter like?
Oh my God. You guys don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. I feel like my villain origin story. I mean, I think ever since I started drinking in high school. And then I think in college, I was just a lunatic. And I definitely, at one point in college, I had the thought, like when I was 21, I was like, I'm not sure like how this is going to look, but this is not sustainable. What I'm doing right now is not going to last forever. And I feel like I knew that right away. And then for the next 10 years just proceeded to try to moderate like cycles of just like feeling terrible about it but not doing anything about it. And then I think when I moved to New York when I was 26 is when I was like, okay, new lease on life, like I'm going to get this under control. It's going to be fine. And it was not fine. It was more of the same every single year. I mean, literally, like now, especially, like having not drank for over 2 years, like I just can't even like put myself back there that I did it for so long and was so miserable for so long. But okay, so when I moved to New York, I was like, okay, that was when like those 5 years, like probably 26 to 30, 31, which is when I quit, I guess, is when I was like actively like taking 6 months off, taking 3 months off, like doing all these different rules of like, I'm going to do this, I'm only going to drink on the weekends, I'm only going to drink on trips, like every single rule in the book. And it just started to feel like more and more ridiculous because I was like, literally, the amount of effort that I was putting into just trying to drink normally and not black out and take it too far was like
Yeah, it's
a
exhausting.
24/7 fucking job. And it is so, it
Yeah.
literally is just, it's constant. Like every single week, every single weekend. Like, and I think it's from being super social. But then I think there's also that element, obviously, like alcohol does play a factor in it. you're going out on the weekends and then you're having wine on the weeknights. And like, there's just this like vicious, like never ending cycle. And I was pretty much never happy with it throughout my 20s. But then like the last couple years is when I was like really like, okay, this has to stop at some point. And then when I turned 30, I feel like that was like a huge, I've been thinking about this since I was 20 and nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed. Nothing is going to change in another decade. And I feel like that was really the light bulb for me, was realizing how much time had passed and how not a single thing had changed. I was still not able to drink normally, not black. I mean, and I wouldn't black out every time, but I really had no control over it. And even not just blacking out, but like, oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine and then I have three and then I'm hungover and then I'm drinking the next day. And it's just, I was like, this is never going to change. The only solution to not being happy with your drinking is not drinking at all. Once I had that light bulb, I was just like, okay, like this is what has to be done.
I can only speak for myself, but it's not a good feeling when you realize that. It's a relief, but it's scary.
And I think it's just scary because like it's just like human nature. Like we innately want to be like everyone else and we want to fit in and be able to participate in the thing that connects everyone and that has been our source of connection and socializing for 15 years. And then this realization that you can't do it like everybody else is kind of a shocking, like, but it was kind of a relief because I was like, okay, I've exhausted every single like way to try to make this fit. And I think I always knew deep down too that like life could be good without it. And it was just a matter of like, okay, when am I going to make that decision? When am I going to feel ready to let it go? And I also kind of feel like I felt like I quit at the right time because I don't have any regrets about like missing out on anything. I did all the things, I went all the places.
Yeah, you'd lived enough
You know what I
life.
mean? Yeah, I lived enough drinking life.
And you say that, but I also think it's probably because you were like good and ready and sick of yourself. Because there are people who don't get sober till they're in their 60s because they're scared about, I don't know, missing out on other parts of life, you know? But I feel like everything you said makes sense. It just gets to be exhausting.
Yeah, and it was very much just like not the person that I wanted to be, you know? This like sloppy, like what might have like been able to slide like in our 20s. Like I was just like, I'm not gonna like be this person at the party or this person on the trip for the rest of forever. And I knew that there was just so much more out there than spending every single like shred of energy that I had on like trying to fit a poison into my life that turned me into a worse version of myself. It just started to feel insane.
And eventually you're just drinking to prove that you can drink and you can't.
Yeah, and to fit in, really. And I literally was like, okay, like, I have this one life on God's green earth, and like, this is what I'm doing with it. Counting the days of the month that I had good drinking days.
All the exhausting, tedious things you do to try and make it work and the bargaining and like you just keep setting the goalposts further and further away with different, drinking milestones you have to hit in order to stop.
And like, for
It really
what? Like, I think that decision maybe would have been harder to make earlier in my 20s because, like, that really was like my whole life, like going out and drinking and partying. But I think it became a little easier as I got closer to 30 because I was like, okay, this isn't really what I want my life to look like anyway. I'm literally holding on to this lifestyle that I don't even want to be my reality anymore. So, like, why am I holding on to it for dear life?
I think it's just because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Exactly. Like it was so, the thought of your whole life changing was so scary. It definitely is an adjustment and it was scary. But like, just once you get to that point where it's like, can't do this anymore, like,
An important reason why I wanted to do this podcast is because I think that when I was struggling with drinking, I thought that an alcoholic looked a certain way, and I thought it was someone who, I don't know, had no friends or family, or was unhoused, or didn't have a job, couldn't hold a job, whatever. And then you talk to two were successful. Like you talk to a mental health counselor, a school counselor, you talk to a lawyer who, struggled with drinking the entire time. They were in law school the entire time I got my master's and we work important jobs and we're alcoholics and like that's okay.
And I think like it was really helpful for me to see people who were doing it. Like people that I like looked up to or wanted to be like or just wanted to be friends with. Like when I know when I used to meet someone who was like, "Oh yeah, I don't drink." I was just like the way that that
Yeah,
should be me and it's not. If they can do it and they have such a great life,
I know.
like please
It's
be
so
so for real.
helpful to see other people who are sober. I put this in air quotes, but the sober influencer culture kind of gets a lot of flack, especially from like the AA community, because I think the mindset is like you're inspiring people to stay sober, right? And you're inspiring people to have this life, but at any point you could go back out and drink. And then what does that tell people, right? But I think that that's a very black and white mindset. Like, I don't think you're inspiring anyone any less if you ever slip
Yeah.
up and drink. Like, that's not the whole point. But there is, it's a big responsibility to hold to stay sober for not
Right.
just for yourself, but
Yeah.
now you stay sober for all these other people who not depend on you, but like are inspired by you, and that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I guess just because like sobriety can be such a fragile thing for some people or a lot of people, and like carrying that as like an example. But I would hope that people are able to have enough like faith in their own journey to not be so,
Dependent. You
you
would
know what I
hope.
mean? And realize that people are humans and like have their own
Right.
experiences.
You would hope so. And so how long have you been sober now?
A little over 2 years. So it's mid-February.
So you haven't drank in years.
So I haven't, and listen, that's my favorite thing to say. It's extremely chic. I haven't drank in years, haven't touched that stuff in years.
I mean, it sounds so cool, and I can't wait to be able to say it. I can't wait to stunt on everyone and just
Like,
be like, I haven't drank in years, like you peasants.
stunt on everyone is exactly how it feels.
So some backstory: when Carter hit 2 years sober, it was right around Valentine's Day, and I had a little event, and we kept joking that Carter can now say she has not drank in years once she hit 2 years sober. I will not be there till June, but trust, once June hits, I will be throwing that term around like it's my job. Literally prepare to be sick of hearing me gloat about how I haven't drank in years. My story is definitely similar. I got sober when I was 27 after probably 2 years of really deeply contemplating getting sober. I never wanted to drink properly ever. Like, even when I was in high school and college, I was always drinking to black out. I can't pinpoint why that is because I had a great life. Like, I don't think I was trying to really run from anything per se. Of course, there were times where I was, but like, I just always liked the feeling of being wasted. Like, I just liked it. I liked the feeling of not knowing where I was or what I was doing. Like, it was just nice to turn my brain off. So, I was a blackout drinker since I was like 15 years old, and it ebbed and flowed. Like, I would go through phases where I was good at drinking, and then I would go through phases where I was bad. But when I was bad, I wasn't necessarily doing bad things. I was in college and I was just comparing my drinking to everyone else. And in comparison to everyone else, I was fine. Like, I was never the worst one. But I ran with like a very party heavy crowd. So I think that went on for a long time. It wasn't until I was like 24 or 25 that I was like, oh, I think I like actually have a problem because I couldn't stop blacking out and doing drugs every time I drank. Once the drugs got involved, I think that's when it got a little shaky for me and kind of amped it up and took it to the next level. And it only took like a year for that to happen. I feel like 1 year for it to go from like 0 to 100 and me be like, oh, I'm completely out of control. And basically, my two options are to go to rehab or an outpatient center or to stop drinking. In my head, I didn't associate going to rehab with stopping drinking. I thought that rehab would like help me drink normally. I don't know why I thought that because that's actually like in case anyone doesn't know, that's not what rehab does actually. You don't drink when you go there. I thought it was going to be like boot camp for how to drink properly. So I didn't do that. So I just decided not to drink. But I went through like probably a year of like you, not drinking for 2 weeks, not drinking for a month, downloading drinking tracking apps on my phone. If I look back on my journals from like 2021 to 2023, it's just me every month being like, oh, I need to get my drinking under control. And nothing changed and I couldn't. And then I hit a series of rock bottoms. There was not one, there was many. And the elevator just goes lower and lower and lower. And I basically reached the point where I was like, this is just not working anymore. I absolutely hated myself. I hated my guts. I was becoming very sneaky. I was sneaky. I was lying to like my husband so that he wouldn't find out I was drinking as much as I was. I wasn't able to hide it around anyone at that point. Like my family was seeing it. It was just a mess. It was such a mess. Oh my God. The problem was, and like you said, I could moderate sometimes. Not that I wanted to, but I could. Like I could go to a dinner and have a glass of wine with my friends and be fine. Was I ever satisfied with that? No, but like I could do it. I could go weeks without drinking. I would go Monday through Thursday without drinking every week because I thought that meant I didn't have a problem. And I I feel like I was able to moderate at times, and that is what kept me drinking for so long because I was like, well, if I had, I had a good night the other night, like I don't have a problem. Like I was fine that time. But then I would go out the next night and just like black out and not remember anything. I wasn't a mean drunk. I wasn't like no one really ever had to carry me home, nothing like that. Like I held my own. I always got myself home. I didn't start fights with people, maybe my husband a few times, but like I was happy go lucky. I was happy to be there. I just never wanted it to stop. Like I was staying up till the sun rose every single weekend for a year. And then I hated myself and wanted to die. So I decided I probably should stop drinking.
Yeah, no, I feel like I was a nightmare. Like I was not like a happy-go-lucky. Like it was not a chill situation.
But that's why you're a lawyer and I'm a mental health
Like it was
counselor.
very much not. Like I had the biggest problem with it. Like I feel like part of like what kept it going for so long was like everyone normalized it so much and was like, "Oh, it's not that bad." I'm like, "I saw the videos, guys. It is that bad." Like
Yeah,
it is totally that. And also what you said about like sometimes it being okay and sometimes it not. I feel like that also kept it going for a long time because it was like it's not so bad that and that like mental gymnastics of being like, well, it's not that bad and I could probably like it's been okay lately and like it's been okay before. Whereas like if it had just been bad in my early 20s, maybe I would have
yeah.
quit sooner. But, you know, got to the same destination in what I would call a
Definitely
reasonable
reasonable.
year,
Definitely
a
young.
reasonable
It's
age.
young. We are sober young. When I was like really involved in AA and going to the rooms a lot, like all the older women who were in their 60s and 70s would always come up to the young group of girls and be like, you guys are so amazing that you're doing this at your age. Like we waited so long. Like most people don't get sober this young in the way that we have. Like unless they've gone to rehab or gotten a DUI or had like a serious issue, it's hard to just get sober because you want to better yourself and you want a better life. Not to pat us on the back, but like the law didn't even have to get involved in us getting sober. We just did it. This is not court mandated,
No, this is not court mandated, although maybe it should have been.
but we're sneaky and we hit it really well.
Ah, no, but I feel like honestly, it's a pop culture podcast as well, but I kind of feel like watching some of the shows, like particularly some housewives, and seeing like women in their 50s and 60s blacking out on television, that like made me think about like that's what I look like and I don't want to be doing this for the next 30 years.
Totally. And now, and I will stand on all 10 toes when I say this. I will never judge anyone when I'm out. If they're blacked out, if they've taken it too far, I will not judge you. I have been you. Like
Totally.
I will empathize with you and I will sympathize for you. But like
Yeah.
going out now, you always see a girl or guy that's completely blacked out and it's a rude awakening because you're like, that was literally
Mhm.
what I looked like. Like that was me all the time. And you think everyone else around you is doing that.
It's
Not everyone else around you is doing that. A lot of the time it's just you. Like I was the only one acting like that.
yeah, no. And like I feel like that was like the worst thing for me is like when you're like out at the bar or club or whatever, like okay, you're blackout, you're falling all over the place, fine. But like I would be at places where I was 100% the only one and like like when it's daylight and it's like no. I was like this can't be happening.
Yeah, no, it was so out of control. Like one of the very last times I drank, this was a week before I got sober, I blacked out at a bowling alley with my family.
Perfect example.
In bowling shoes?
No, like I'm engagement parties, baby shout, like it was just like things that and it would be like, oh, I think everyone was drunk. No, it was just you. It was 100% just you, and it was very obvious to everyone in the room. And whatever you think it looked like, it was worse.
I mean, like, it is what it is, and we are walking living proof that life gets better when you stop drinking. Is it a little bit mundane sometimes? For sure. Do I always miss the first drink? Yes, the first drink was always lovely. The first sip, the first drink was always amazing. I miss that initial rush of dopamine. I still get jealous when I see people have a crisp glass of wine, but stick around long enough and you see someone on their third or fourth, and then you're not jealous anymore. So that's all I have to say about that.
100%.
Clock. I love seeing people get to that point selfishly because I'm like, okay, I don't feel bad anymore. Like now I'm happy I'm sober.
No, I do too. I hate to say it, but I'm just like, wow, I am so happy that's not me anymore. And I feel like in more of these episodes, we'll talk about like what we like about it, like what's easy, what's hard, like, because it's not that it's just like you wake up one day and it's like so easy and perfect, but there is so much more good than bad. Like, it's night and day.
Yeah.
Night and fucking day. Like, it cannot be
No.
understated.
And 99% of the things you're nervous about are not going to be things you care about when you're actually sober.
No, they're really not. Like,
Not at all.
not at
So
all.
that's where we're at with our sobriety, both of us. We both don't drink. I'm almost 2 years sober. Carter's 2 years sober. She hasn't drank in years. And we are going to have a bunch of different guests on, like friends who are sober, who are also in the social media space. And we're just going to talk about sobriety and pop culture and womanhood, and all the things. So now that we talked a little bit about our sobriety, do we think it's time to discuss some pop culture stuff?
Yes, I think so. Pop culture debrief.
So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about our well-behaved people of the week. When we talk about well-behaved people, we're not talking about someone who's actually well-behaved. We're talking about someone who is doing quite the opposite. And boy, do we have two people this week who are doing quite the fucking opposite. So we are going to talk about Wes Wilson and Amanda Batula. Carter, why don't you kick us off?
What I want to kick off with is now, in having processed this for, I guess, a week, like one of my okay, so I know you and I talked about this before the news broke, and you felt like you knew that they were hooking up. Before the statements came out, was still like, I don't see, like, I don't know that it's for, I can't see her doing that. So I was still iffy on it. You were like, I'm like, oh, it's so weird they're doing this. You're like, because they're hooking up. There's no way. So anyway, one of the reasons that I really didn't think it could be true was because they posted so much together as friends, like all in each other's dumps, and like they'd be touching hand, like it was just too in your face for me. And I was like, you wouldn't be doing that if you were secretly hooking up. And that was like my number one reason that it wasn't true. And so now that it is true and the statement has come out, that makes those posts and how they've been acting, even in the last just 2 months, fucking bizarro to me.
That's a great way of putting it. This entire thing
Like,
is fucking bizarro. Like, first of all, let me just say something. It's diabolical. And here's the other thing. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. So just stay with me till the end. Summer House as a show has been giving me the ick for a while. I don't need to see 30 and 40-year-old people doing themed parties in their backyard every weekend. Like, get a grip. What are we talking about? Okay. But I've stayed tuned in to watch Amanda and Kyle get divorced. That's literally why I stayed tuned in. And I never felt bad for Amanda Batula. I've never felt bad for her with Kyle because she knew exactly who she was marrying. He's always been this person. I also think she was really mean to him. She was meaner to him sometimes than he was to her. And I think he was getting a lot of the flack for that. I never felt bad for her. And I didn't understand this whole pity party of like poor Amanda. I've never seen someone, aka Kyle, go from villain to hero so quickly, and Amanda go from hero to villain so quickly. She, a mere month ago, posted a statement about her divorce and then had to post a statement a month later about hooking up with his best friend. Like, that is so embarrassing. Also, you could date anyone. She could have dated up. She could have dated anyone. And she's choosing to date someone in this summer house show that they do, that she's too old to still be on, that they're all too old to still be on, who is just a younger version of her ex-husband. And on top of it all, her poor best friend, who probably feels the same way we do and didn't feel that bad for her and really wanted her to get divorced for a long time, who was there for her the entire time and was very patient with her, she's screwing her over. What are we talking about?
Okay, I want to ask you so a bunch of stuff's been flying around of all the old clips from the old season, seeing how flirty and touchy and whatever they are. When do you think that they first hooked up or crossed the line?
So
Do you think it was recent in the last couple months, or do you think that it was last summer? But I'm naive. I don't know. I feel like it had to be recent.
I think it was recent. I don't think that they hooked up a while ago. Listen, I think Amanda is not a girl's girl, and I think she's desperately needs male validation and clearly needs male validation from famous
Hmm.
D-list, C-list celebrity men. That's like her thing, I guess. But like, I don't think she was laying in a bed with Sierra all summer, talking, secretly hooking up with Sierra's ex. Like, I just don't think that that was happening.
Totally.
And I think that's why they felt comfortable posting these
Yeah.
pictures and these photo dumps on Instagram all together. And
Yeah.
this whole group just moves funny. They just move funny to me. Like, I also didn't like that, like,
Mhm.
Amanda was putting pictures of her and Kyle in her dumps, and Kyle was putting, you guys are getting divorced. And this man also, like, it's weird. You're not
Weird.
friends. Like, have some boundaries and have some space. Stop going to the bar. I know people they're at the bar with. They're at the bar with 28, 29-year-old kids on Saturdays. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. Get out of the
Yeah.
Greenwich Tavern. Like, I just feel like they need to grow up a little bit.
It's weird. And I do feel like the pathetic thing about hooking up with the guy who rejected your best friend is like there was a point for you where you said, you don't like her, but you like me. And then you went for it. And like, that is so, like, how desperate for a man's attention do you have to be that that is enticing for you? And to blow it all up. And I do think like sometimes people meet and they're soulmates and they get married and they run off and whatever. But to do this and then put out a statement that you're feeling things out, it's never going to fucking go
It
anywhere,
can't now.
obviously.
It can't.
Like, you blew up your entire life. Even with Scandival, like Tom and Raquel, I think that they had a point where they really thought, like, we're going to run off into the distance and be soulmates. So it was like that. But this is like, you blew it all up for what? Wes' attention just to hear him say, yeah, I'm not into Sierra, but I am into you.
And here's the other thing. So what? So what if Wes turned around and said, Amanda, I like you? Like, Amanda, you can have any guy, you can have anyone. Why are you not strong and grounded enough in yourself and in your womanhood and in your friendship that you can't look at this guy and
Yeah.
be like, even if I do kind of like you, this ain't it. Like, we're not doing this.
Exactly. It might be human nature to say for that to pique your interest, but you have to be like resolved enough in your own self to know this is not the only fish in the sea. This is my best friend's fish. There's a million other guys out there for me, and I don't need a man's attention so desperately.
Same. And I think West always liked her, and it's obvious watching the episodes back that he always had a crush on her. I think a lot of the guys do, and like
Yeah,
that's great.
it is.
When you're a pretty, and she seems smart enough, when you can hold the conversation, right? When you're a pretty smart girl, guys are gonna like you. That doesn't mean you have to be with all of them.
Yeah, and I also think for her, like part of the allure was that she was like taken and spoken for. And also, I think the new guys coming into the house, like Amanda is one of the stars of the show. So I think that plays into like guys liking her a lot too and giving her attention. And it's like, but she was always married. And then the second she is separated, the first guy that gives her attention is West and she goes for it.
Well, I think the other thing too is we would be fools to not recognize the fact that West was one of the only guys this summer that stood up to Kyle and was like, don't be mean to Amanda. And she definitely romanticized that and was like, this is what I
Hmm.
deserve. This is the treatment I deserve. He's going to treat
Yeah.
me really well. Your husband was calling you a
Yeah.
fucking bitch in front of everyone. Like, any normal man should be calling him out. Just because West was the only one who had the guts to do it doesn't mean that he's someone you should date. Like, again, like I just feel like her self-worth is on the floor, which is really unfortunate.
definitely want to do something at the Maze for the reunion. I need them to release the date because it is going to be like our fucking Super Bowl.
I just am curious to hear what they have to say because back to what we were saying before with like Scandal, I just don't see how this is enjoyable for Amanda and Wes anymore. And I don't agree with everyone like cyberbullying her again. This is like when people were cyberbullying Barry Cogan. We can't be cyberbullying people. We can't be cyberbullying people. Stop like sending her death threats. You guys are weirdos. Stop sending
can't.
people death threats. It's weird. But like this can't be fun for them anymore. It's not romantic, it's not cute, it's not fun.
I'm trying to think about like what their status is going to be like at the reunion. I guarantee it's like, oh, we're nothing.
Or they are gonna put like 10 toes on the ground and be like, we have to stick this out because we just blew up our lives and we have to prove to everyone that we actually like each other. Like it depends how stubborn they are.
And West had a performative relationship with Sierra, so he could just as well do the same thing with Amanda to save
Right.
face and say, look, I'm not so terrible because these are real feelings. See?
Right.
And then it won't last 6 weeks after the reunion.
Play like the puppy dog thing and be like, we really like each other. We didn't plan for this to happen. This just happened. And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. And the other thing is, I need to say this. When it comes to Sierra, okay, I have seen Sierra in person. Okay, I've been in spaces with her. I did not deserve to be breathing the same air as Sierra. She is.
Is it really like that
I
striking?
couldn't. I had to look away. I was like, I don't deserve. My eyes don't deserve to be looking at you. You are stunning. And not only that, it's not just that. Like she's nice. She's smart. She's loyal as hell. She's a good friend. She's got a great personality. She's funny. Like, what are we talking? I just like. I'm like. First of all, Wes never deserved her, and you've always been anti-Wes and Sierra.
Yes. Mike, we could do, I could personally do a solo episode on how I have stood 10 toes down against West and Sierra from the beginning. Just let the record reflect.
I don't see it. He's not my type. I'm more of a Jesse girl. And I know people have opinions on that, but I like it.
I actually like would have shit her and Jesse hooking up and having a summer fling.
I like Jesse.
You know, like that would have been like cute and funny.
There's
This is
nothing
not
cute and funny about this. This is effed up. This is mean and diabolical.
The content about him like dressing out of an Urban Outfitters catalog.
Like he thinks because he has style and he's a Democrat, that means that like he's a good person. That's not what that means. Like just because you think women should have rights doesn't mean that you're a good person. You should just feel that way. You just should. His most redeeming quality is that his mom's a
100%.
gynecologist, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Two other well-behaved people this week are Sydney Sweeney and Scooter Braun, who are still at it. They spent Easter together.
I cannot even talk about them. I cannot take them seriously. I actually like him a lot more than I like her.
Can you tell me what you like about him? Just for research
I
purposes.
don't know. I just like feel like he's kind of
Well, no, do tell.
like, am I sick? I kind of feel like okay, I follow him on Instagram and I feel like he has like some nice
Wait, but so
posts.
I'm asking out of sheer ignorance because all I know about Scooter Braun is that he fucked Taylor Swift over. I'm a Swiftie, so but also that everyone dropped him from like him being their manager and he got divorced, right?
Yeah, okay, I didn't like the divorce because I did feel like him and his
He
wife
cheated
were
on her, I
super in
think.
love, and then something happened overnight. Yeah, and by something happened, that being him cheating. So I guess he is kind of the worst. I don't know. He has some really nice political.
Okay.
He's putting some good stuff out there, but
What do you
I guess
mean?
that really is it, though.
Nice political posts. Is he pretty liberal? And he's with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, so that is super interesting to me. And I love that she tries to come off as this like depth and just like we're not buying what you're selling. And them two being together makes me not like the last thing I did like in him. But okay, also the Taylor Swift of it all, obviously, he's dead to us for that reason. And also I feel like he just like squeezed every dollar and every minute out of every person he managed and then just like was done with them. I don't know that I really have much basis for that though. That's just my feeling.
You know, if I had to put my money down on Sydney Sweeney when it comes to Sydney Sweeney politically, I'm actually going to say that I think she's a registered Republican. I don't think Sydney Sweeney
Mhm.
votes. I don't think she votes. I think she's a
100%.
registered Republican because her families are Republicans. I don't think she cares that much. I don't think she's that involved. I think she got a lot of negative heat and attention for it and kind of just was like, whatever, I'll just take the attention. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
No, I think she gives me Kristen Cavallari vibes, where maybe she's a Democrat, maybe she's a Republican, but at the end of the day,
No.
she doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's not into it. And so I think, and also I think she's not dialed into certain political things. And so it's like when someone says, like, oh, you wore this and that is giving Republican, I think it's kind of like Kristen Cavallari doing like all her kind of like Maha stuff. Like, I don't think she knows what Maha is. Like, I don't think she's dialed into it. And like, I don't think that they care.
I think she's the definition of all press is good press, and she's leaning into that.
Yeah, I definitely, well, maybe this is actually the connection with Sydney Sweeney and Scooter Braun because I've always gotten the sense from Sydney Sweeney, like, she doesn't care about anything but
Yes.
making movies and making
Yeah.
money. And maybe that's what connects them.
Yes. So one of my close friends worked at HBO for a while, and Sydney, when she was on Euphoria, when it was first starting, whatever, Sydney would come into the office, and she was saying, she was like,
Hmm.
she is so serious about acting. That's like why she doesn't drink. She's a sober queen. Um, she doesn't drink because that's how serious. No, and she's like, I am here to act. Like she wants to be an actress. She's very serious. Everyone in the office said she was very nice,
Yes.
very kind.
Okay, but also, what about when she did that movie with
Oh, I hated that movie. Anyone but you.
rom com? It was terrible, but their whole press thing, and then like his fiance at the time came out and said, like, yeah, like I was not in on that joke where they were pretending they were dating. Like, he did not let me in on that. And like, it was like a strategy for the movie. And I feel like that tracks with what we're saying about Sydney too, is that like, he has said before that Sydney came up with that whole like charade. So I think that she is just like almost like shrewd.
She's like, she'll do whatever she has to do to be successful. And we can look at it from a different lens here too, right? Like, let's look at men who will do anything to be successful. They are not typically villainized. But then we see women who, like
Hmm.
Sydney Sweeney and like Alex Cooper, who will screw people over and do anything to be successful, and they are just villainized much more than men. Am I saying it's right to do that? No. But I think there's just more of a negative spotlight put on women when they
Hmm.
do that, when they're a bit more bloodthirsty and, overly driven to a fault.
Yeah, because I mean, that is kind of what she said about like even the American Eagle jeans thing. She's like, I'm literally just here to do a commercial. That's what she said about like every like controversy she runs into. She's like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm here to do the fucking movie. Like, and I do think she's an airhead in that way, where she genuinely doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's here to do her thing, and like if that has Republican implications, like that's not her problem. I think that's her mindset.
The
Go
jeans
off.
commercial wasn't as bad. The jeans
The
commercial was
jeans commercial.
rough, and I think people were being a little like dramatic with it. But like, what I thought was worse was the bath soap thing.
The bath. I actually was kind of into the bath soap thing because get your bag.
Men are so stupid that like we need to start making more money off of them. And if that involves you making your own bath water, what did she do? She put her own bath water into a soap. If men are gonna buy that, if
Exactly.
men are
And
gonna
that's
buy
why I'm
that,
here for it.
make money off the sickos.
Exactly.
You're making like we are sexualized and objectified all the time anyway. We might as well be making some money off of it. And again, I don't think she cared that much. She was getting her bag with the bath soap.
That's what I'm saying. So with the bath soap, I had no choice but to stand, I have to say. I wonder how her, was it a skincare line that, oh no, lingerie line that just came out. Did you hear about that?
If anyone should have a lingerie line, it's probably her, yeah.
Yeah, but like who's buying it? Men can't, how is a man buying Sydney, hey sweetie, I got you this Sydney Sweeney lingerie. And then women, I guess there's maybe a subsect of women that are buying Sydney Sweeney lingerie, but you know what I mean? It's like I don't know who the market's for.
I'm going on another rant. Stop making skincare, makeup, drinks. Stop making drinks, clothing lines. Donate to a charity. Can you guys start a charity? I don't need another makeup or skincare line.
Like, I do not buy celebrity lines except for Rhode,
Yeah, it's just too much. Like I just don't need another
you know?
celebrity with another skincare. I'll let Selena Gomez have Rare Beauty because she did
No.
market that toward people with like limb differences and disabilities, and I do appreciate that. And I do love the Rare Beauty foundation. I use it all the time. There's just certain things I don't need, and
Hmm.
that's just how I feel.
And Khloe Kardashian popcorn is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, is it protein popcorn?
It's protein popcorn, yes.
Enough with the protein. I don't, if I'm eating fucking popcorn, I don't need there to be protein in it.
Hmm.
Just like I don't need protein in my coffee. I just want
100%.
coffee. It's too
No,
much protein.
I don't. I love those memes that are like, Guys, you're not gonna believe this, but we used to go months without mentioning the word protein."
It's
Months.
just too much with the protein. I'm not trying to bulk up. We can't be bulking up. It's April.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. Okay. So what else should we talk about?
Trying to think. I'm feuding with Audrey Peters on TikTok today. TikToker. I'm not feuding with her, but I commented on her saying that she orders Uber Eats for every single meal 4 times a day.
Hold up. She
Hmm.
orders Uber Eats for 4 meals a day? I'm
That's
not.
what she
That's a
said.
lie.
It's totally a lie. And she pretty much said as much in a comment. It was like, well, I'm like, okay, so you rage baited to make a video specifically with the hook that says, I order Uber Eats for every single meal every day. But anyway, people are in my comments saying that that's completely normal in New York. They're like, if you're single in New York, groceries are expensive and it can be more cost effective to do Uber Eats. I'm like, I'm sorry, ladies. I live in New York. I'm ordering for one. You're not gonna fucking convince me that it is more cost effective to order Uber Eats for and then some people are like, well, I order it once a day. And I'm like, and that's completely
That's
different than 4 times a day. Like that's what this video is
that's
about.
not comparable. Ordering it once a day to
Fucking
four
idiots. I
times a day?
can't.
4 times a day?
Yeah, I'm like, that would be a different video.
That means that she's ordering dessert too.
No, that's okay. So she went through it and she ordered Starbucks, breakfast and coffee, ordered Meadow Lane for lunch, something for dinner, and then Pinkberry. And part of it too is just like, okay, so maybe you order breakfast and then maybe you go pick up a salad. Like, I'm not saying, like, I don't cook, I do a meal delivery service too. Like, I don't, but you can go pick up your Pinkberry. You can walk to coffee with a friend. Like, it's the fucking principle of you trying to act like it's normal to order delivery 4 times a fucking day. And then when it blows up, people say that that's weird. You're like, well, not every day. So
I
why'd you
think
say every day
sometimes
then?
these people online like need to touch grass. Also, like, do you know how you sound like a spoiled brat? That's the other thing. Like, there are people who can't afford 1 meal a day. Why are you even putting it out there that you could Uber Eats 4 times a day? You sound like a jerk. Like,
Yeah, and it's just gluttonous to be like, oopsie, I wanted 4 things today, so I ordered it. And like, and I always love this too. Like, as people who post online, like, you post with the risk that you're putting something out there for attention, and some of that attention that you get back is not going to be positive. Like, you put a rage baity video out there, and people are going to come and say
yeah,
that that's fucking weird. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
I
I
can't.
think, and we could make a whole episode about this. We have our, shared mutuals that we don't enjoy on social media, who I feel like sometimes people just don't think before they're posting things, specifically New York City based female influencers. I'm just
Yeah.
finding that, like, some of the stuff, by the way, none of them are from New York. As someone from New York, it just infuriates me. If you didn't take the Regents exams, you are not a New York City influencer. You live here. You are not a New Yorker. Okay. Um, I just feel like sometimes they say things, and I'm like,
Right.
why are you admitting that? You should be more embarrassed. But then again, I post about being an alcoholic, so I guess someone could say that about
Yeah.
me too. Let me just look 1 second. I want to look at what we said we were going to talk about next. Episodes will be every Thursday at 8 a.m. And next week we are talking about how sobriety is not a one size fits all approach. So if you're sober, sober curious, California sober, if you just take drinking breaks, if you've been relapsing or drinking again, if you hate labels. We're just going to talk about why there's no moral high ground and how to find what works for you. And we will also obviously do another pop culture recap next week. And we're also going to mix in some fun different segments. So keep an eye on our Instagram stories because we want your guys' feedback.
Love it. Episode 1.
Thanks for listening. I'm assuming it's girlies, but if we have any guys here too, you're welcome to come back and listen if you want.
The girls, the gays, and the theys.
Bye.